Hello ladies and gentlemen, Q here with another RPG Maker tutorial. This is the second in a series where we'll be looking at how to add side battlers, custom HUDs, and a host of other effects to your game. Remember that this is the second part, so if you're not familiar with what I am about to start doing right now, make sure to look at our previous video. What I'm doing right now is to sort of recap to show you guys that the stuff that we covered in the first video in the series can actually be done fairly quickly, and what I'm doing is taking the scripts that we want from the script sources and putting them into our project. Right now I'm taking the battle HUD, we are putting that into our project. We are going to go a step further then from the last tutorial. We're going to go ahead and add a cursor. I'll show you what the cursor does. Let's go ahead and apply, and if you don't remember from the last time, we're just kind of doing a brief overview here. What we want to do right now is take the visual assets that we want from Perl and Animated and add them into our own project. So let's just go ahead and copy this stuff. And again, if you're kind of lost, we already did all this stuff and we went more in detail in the first video, so make sure to check that out. Let's go ahead and go up into the project. Let's throw some land here so that the hero has somewhere to walk on. Alright, let's go ahead and add an event, new event. This event's just going to give us a battle processing with a couple of slimes. We'll go ahead and put some character there to signify that it's there. And what we've done so far is basically insert the scripts and the assets that the scripts need. If you will recall, the site battler script functions by tags. We explored this a little bit in the previous videos. What we're doing is we're going to the animated battler source linked below from Galv, and we are copying the tags into our project. Go ahead and copy and paste. Now for the archer, copy and paste, and this time around let's take a step further. Last time we only did the main character, so let's go ahead and go into the enemies and let's make animated enemies as well. The principle is the same as for the characters. You define which image the enemy is going to use depending on the tag right here, Battler Slimer, and we're going to go in depth into that in a little bit. So copy and paste it here. Let's go ahead and go into the troops, add a little bat, move the characters around a little bit, apply. And let's go ahead and look at what we've done so far. Alright. So what I just did, which is what we covered in the first video, is basically get your battle system to look something like this. We have your character up here, the side battler, and in a little bit we'll just make him stand a little bit lower so you can see him on the ground. We have the custom HUD, and fight and attack, and the Slimer. The enemies also have animation, they walk up to you and so on. Alright, so that's what we've done so far. Now let's go ahead and look at the scripts a little bit more in depth. There's really not much to go over really. You do need to be aware of the graphics that the system uses. And for what we're going to be doing today, we're going to need holders animated battler, so let's go ahead and find that. Holder animated. Right, and you can find that at animatedbattlers.wordpress.com. Holder has a host of really great looking characters. Great. Connection failed. Alright, there we go. He has a host of great characters. Right, so you can choose whichever one you like. I'm gonna go ahead and pick, let's see. I know he has like a female warrior somewhere. It's the one that I'm looking for. Tutorial. Let's just go ahead and open up Terrence, just in case we can't find the one that I want. Let's see, here we go. Actors. Oh, should be here somewhere. There we go. Yep, this one. Adela. So we're going to go ahead and save that image. We're going to save it as Adela.png. Right. And let's take Terrence too, because why not? terr.png. And you want to be really aware of the names that you're giving your characters. Let's go ahead and close that. And you will see the characters over here. They have kind of like an ugly green background. You want to go ahead and open up your image editor. I use paint.net because it's free and it loads up faster than GIMP on my computer. You want to go ahead and open up your characters that you just got into your image editing program. So here they are. You go ahead and use the magic wand to select. Let me go ahead and set resistance to 0% to select everything that's in the ugly color. Delete. You do the same with both characters. Delete, and you'll notice that there are a total of, I believe, 14 positions. We have standby, defense, and so on. And here at the bottom you'll see the information, like holder, the artist information. That's something that you need to keep there. Don't resize your image and so on, because if you do, it's not going to work with the script that we're currently using. So you go ahead and save and save. Alright, and now we have our characters at the ready. Let's just go ahead and minimize this. Alright, so go into the graphics folder of our project. I think we're done with this one, so we can just do away with the battlers. You go into the graphics, battlers, and this is where you're going to want your characters. Let's go ahead and put Adela and Terrence there, and I'm just basically going to show you how to modify the visuals, basically which image your character uses. So you go into the database in your project, we look at the actors. You'll notice that Eric has the knight tag, so we just go ahead and change that for TERR. And here Natalie has the spearwoman, so that would normally give her the spearwoman sprite, but this time around maybe I want her to be Adele. Let's see, maybe over here somewhere. Adela. So battler ADELA, Adela. And what this does, the tag basically says this character, character ID 002, is going to look in the battlers folder. It's going to use Adela.png, which we have down here. Eric is going to look for Terrence.png during the battle. Right? We look at Terrence. Maybe we should give Terrence the actual Terrence, right? So TERR, and then let's just leave Eric with knight. Or actually, let's see what other sprites we have here. Let's go ahead and use, let's see, Slimer, Ibat, Knight, Archer. Yeah, we'll just use Slimer. Why not? That'll be fun. Slimer. So we're giving Eric a slime, and then Ernest has the Archer. Right? So the tag is telling the executable to look inside the battlers folder, look for the PNG. Again, we go ahead and apply that stuff. And let's look at the script real quick here in Gal's Animated Battlers. The important things that you want to watch out for are these numbers. We have columns and rows. All right, that is a direct parallel. No, let's not use that one. Let's use Terrence. Of how many columns your battle sprite sheet has and how many rows your battle sprite sheet has. It has less than 14, then you go ahead and change the number over here in the screen. If you have something that has more frames than 4, then you go ahead and change that number. Right. Enemy flip, you're going to want that as true. The reason being that all of the character sprites you can see here are facing left, right? Everyone's facing left. We have Miliduel and so on. These are the pets. We're not going to look at the pets in this video yet. Right, they're all looking left. And so when we have enemies, we want the enemies to look right, to be facing right. And so we go here to the script. We make sure that the enemy flip is on true. Actor flip is on false. If you were to set this on true, then that would, of course, around the your characters the way they're facing. HP crisis refers to the amount of HP percentage wise that your characters has to have before they go into crisis position. Crisis position would be the one where they go into when they are weak. Let's see if we can find it over here. Well, this was a bit hard to find, so let's see one that's a little bit more obvious. Here we go. This one, right? So that would be 1 to 3. The third column is the weakened position. So when we have a fourth of the HP, if we have half of the HP maybe, so let's set that to 50, and so on. One animation refers to positions that will not keep repeating their frames once you do them. So you will look at the different positions and what they are in a little bit, but these numbers refer to the rows. So rows 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 11 will not repeat, meaning that if we go here, positions 1, 2 will repeat, but 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 will not. We'll go down to 11. Let's see, 14, 13, 12, 11, and 11. These positions will not loop. Alright. You can leave these values at standard. The offset has to do with the distance between the actors and the enemies when you set the attack. Again, the actor positions, this is a really important one. This defines where your characters will be standing. On the right hand column, we see the Y variable, that's how high or low the characters are. On the left hand column, we see the X variable, that's how front or back the characters are. So the higher the number, the more to the upper left your character will be. The higher the number, the closer to the lower right. So let's go ahead and maybe set this to 40, this to 20, this one to 100, right? And I should note it says here don't touch, but you know that's probably so that you don't kind of like mess up anything if you don't know what you're doing. If you know what you're doing, you can toy around with these values. Right, these are the special actions: counterattack, magic roof activation. Right, and here you have a listing of all the different poses that your characters have. So row 0 would actually be the top one. So let's go ahead and put the Slimer here. Someone else. Let's see here. So row 0 would be idle. This is where your character is just kind of standing there. Guard would be row 1, which is actually row 2. Right. So this would be the guard. Row 3 would be the poor status. You see the archer being kind of tired. Row 3 in the script would be row 4 in your image, and so on, right? So on your image you start with 1, 2, 3, but in the script that is defined as beginning in 0. Right, move backwards, use scale, and so on. All right, and that's the end of the settings. Anything below here, that's the actual script. I don't recommend that you touch that unless you actually know what you're doing. Um, but if you're just starting out, then what you really need is the configuration, right? So those are the configurations for the Gulf script, and let's go ahead and see the small changes that we've made. So we start in the game, and there we go. We will see the main character. Now with the slime, I forgot to add a party member set, so let's go ahead and do that. Database, system, we start off with Natalie, we start off with Terrence, and we start off with Ernest. Alright, let's go ahead and try the battle again. Now you'll see the 4 characters lined up. Alright, we have Eric with the slime, we have Adil, we have Terrence, and we have Archer. Right? So fight and so on. And it all looks really cool and flashy and whatever. Right? Now we're going to look at the head sub display, the HUD. That's the stuff that we have down here, you know, the face, the icons, the rows, and all that stuff. So let's go into the script editor again, and again you want to be aware of the assets used. Right? Mostly they rely on the assets in HUD's battle. Right? Now we see face 1, 2, 3, 4. It's really important for you to be aware of. It's important for you to be familiar with the way that the layout works in case you want to change it a little bit. We're actually going to do some modifications to it. You know, MP numbers, DP numbers, and so on, all that good stuff. All right. So let's go ahead and look at. Oh, by the way, the cursor, what it does is it basically adds a hand to your menu. So let's go ahead and just kind of show you. Right, you see that little hand there. Right, that hand is basically what the cursor does. Right, so let's go back to the battle HUD, and it's going to be a little bit different, the script, depending on which HUD you choose. If you remember in the previous video, I said the Mug Hunter has like 16 or 17 different HUDs. Download link below. Right, and all of them are going to be the same principle, but maybe a little bit different. Max Battle Member, some of his HUD options do allow you to use 5, 6, 7 up to 8 characters, maybe even more, but because we're mixing this with Golf's Animated Battlers, I recommend that you leave this at 4 maximum battle members. Right? So here we have the HUD position, that would be where it starts, member space, and so on. All these are variables that you don't really need to mess with, most of them. Name visible has to do with your character's name, right, and all the configurations that are relevant to that. This is, I think, pretty much self-explanatory. Do you want to italize the font? What should be the color? And so on. For the color, you just look at the color wheel, HTML color wheel, or any random color wheel. Here we have the face avatar. If you remember in the battle, the little character face kind of popping out. Do you want it to be visible? Yes or no? Well, of course, you want it to show, I think. Do you want the animation, to kind of pop out and so on? Do you want the zoom effect, the shaking effect, and so on? I think that maybe the one thing that you might consider changing, here we have the HP value in the script itself, would be the technique points down here. Right? A few of you might choose to have all of your skills represented by MP up here instead of having a separate set for techniques and a separate skill for magic. So instead of having 2 bars, maybe you want 1, and that's where you need to be familiar with this, because if you said TP number visible to false. TV number position, right? None of this stuff is going to show, so it doesn't really matter what values you choose. TV number animation, maybe we set that one to false as well. TV number color, etc., etc. We have the meter, we set it to false. Doesn't really matter where we put it because it's false. It's not showing, right? True means yes. False means no, meaning true shows, false doesn't. So false again for, basically you go down the list, you replace true with false for TP, and then the AT is by default not visible because it looks kind of ugly when we mix the AT battle with this specific HUD. But I'll show you a workaround in a little bit, right? So maybe we don't want the TP bar here. Let's go ahead and show you what we've just done. Change the project, yes. New game, and slime emerged. Now if you notice, right now we have the TP bar here at the left of the HUD for each character. It's not going to fill up because we're no longer using TP, right? But how do we get rid of that weird looking bar over here once we've done that? Well, again, we go over here, familiar with the image, so we go ahead and open our trusty Photoshop. I suppose you have Photoshop. If not, then you can just get GIMP or Paint.net. I'll link to those below as well. Let's go ahead and open up the eraser. 6 should be fine. And you erase that extra part of the HUD. You might want to be careful. I'm just kind of gonna do it quickly here. Like whatever happens, happens. I'm gonna call that good enough. And then of course maybe you want to do something a little bit more carefully, right? Maybe you just want to go like this or something. There, yeah, looks a little bit better, I guess. I'll save that. Maybe you want to go ahead and find the TP font. Might be in system. No, should be in there. Doesn't really matter. So you go ahead and run it. Now we have the HUD with that modification there. Now we have the HP bar, we have the MP bar, we don't have the TP bar, we still have TP there, but again, doesn't really matter, it doesn't affect gameplay at all. So now you have a slightly customized HUD, and maybe you'll want to add a little bit of active time to this, because so far we haven't really changed the functionality of the battle system. And for that, you want to again go back to Mug Hunter scripts, and you want to use the FMA HUD that Mug Hunter includes in his battle HUD custom kind of setup thing, right? If you look at the scripts that he has with FMA, you'll notice that he has Mog ATB, Mog Shala, and some other stuff, skill name, battle command, DX, damage pop-up. We're gonna add all that stuff to our project. Alright, so again, this is the game. We already did the map, we already did all the events that we want. We have like an 80-hour epic or whatever. Right? Let's go ahead and pretty it up with, I don't want to save. There we go. An active battle time, so we're gonna go ahead and copy and paste the scripts, and I'll go over each of them in a little bit. Copy, paste, copy, you don't want to copy the battle HUD. Why? Because we already have a battle HUD that we like, right? We like the battle HUD from 04, which is, I think, Black Hawk, Black Pearl, right? So we like the HUD from Black Pearl. Maybe we don't like the HUD from FMA, so we don't copy the script for the HUD. We copy the battle command, and we copy the damage pop-up. Right? Most of these are just kind of like pretty little flare things to make your game kind of look a little bit nicer. So we go ahead and save that, and if we run the game, you'll notice that it's not going to work. Right? So I'm going to move this over here. Unable to find file, graphic, damage, HP number, and so on. The reason being that although we copied the scripts, we did not copy the assets. Right? So we need to go over here, graphics folder. We just copy it into our project, and it's going to ask you to override a couple of files. You don't want to overwrite the files themselves, right? So face and so on, you don't want to copy those. So don't copy the faces, don't copy the different numbers, don't copy the layout, because we already, again, have a layout that we like. And you don't necessarily have to go with Black Pearl to do this, right? Maybe you chose a different layout. The important thing is you don't want to copy the visual assets from one layout onto the script using different ones, because then it's just going to look like a mess. And at the end I'll show you what a mess looks like if you'd like. Now that we've copied the assets, look at the playtest, and you'll notice a cool little action time circle here, reminiscent of Grandia. Now we go ahead and attack the slime. Right, we're way faster than the enemies. Maybe we go special and magic. Go ahead and guard. They attack us, and so on. Right. So here you have the active time battle. Let's go ahead and look at those scripts in depth. I haven't read them in a bit, so please kind of bear with me while I sort of go over them, figure out what's important, what's not. Some skills might be activated if you perform different skills in order. So, for example, cooperation skill 104, when you activate skills 1 and 5, we go ahead and go into the database. We look at skills. I wonder if we have actually 104 set up. Yeah. So here we have 104. This skill is going to be activated if we cast skill 1 and 5 at the same time with 2 different characters. Let's see, up. Alright. Let's see, is there anything else important here? Sound effects, ATB max, time duration, right? So all these things are things that don't really affect gameplay motion. Then we have the rest of the script. We look at Chala. We probably don't need much either. Important thing is here, ATB underscore battle name, right? There's a comment that talks about the face that's used in the little ring on the top right section of your screen. And so you don't even need to mess with any of the configuration. It's just important for you to remember the names here. You have skill names. It doesn't really matter. We have the battle command. Again, it doesn't really matter. There's a lot of different configurations that are, I think, mostly self-explanatory, so let's just go ahead and ignore those. What I do want to do, let's go back into our graphics. Right? I want to look at the Chala ATB. We have actor underscore 1, underscore 2, underscore 3, etc. If we go back to the script, that is not in this one, it's in the other one. There we go. That has to do with the icons that will be used, ATB, and so on. And what we're using is the character ID, meaning here 001, 002, and so on. So let's just go ahead and maybe change one of them. Let's change actor 1. Let's go ahead and open up our trusty image editing program. did I open normal paint? So maybe we just take this thing, open it up, go in, we erase whatever face we have, right? And since this is the first actor, it's going to be Eric's, and so Eric had a slime. So let's just go ahead and make like a teardrop, and then just put some green on it. There we go, slime. So go ahead and save. Yes. Alright, so that's for the Shala. Your enemies are all going to use this icon. So we go back, we go into the battlers, and I think I want to do something here. We have a battler that I sort of created. It's called Shapes, so let's go ahead and just sort of copy, just cut will be fine, and paste it into my battlers. Paste, and that's the one that we're going to give to Eric now. Battlers. Shapes. Let's go ahead and apply that. And then we go into, that wasn't system, HUDs, battle, and we take face 1, again the face _1 referring to the actor ID. So face 1 will be Eric, face 2 will be whoever's in the second spot. Here's Natalie. Face 3 will be actor ID 003, meaning Terrence, and so on. So what I want to do right now is take Eric's face, open it up in the image editing software. I want to go ahead and erase what we have. Let's make this a little bit bigger there. Erase what we have, and we're just going to draw like whatever, green face with blue stuff on it, and there we have a original happy face whose mouth is yellow for some reason. Alright. So now when we run the game, what we will have is that Eric will look like a bunch of shapes. He will have two weird faces going around the ATV and on the HUD itself. Right, so here we go, Eric. Alright, and so there you have it. Now you have side view battlers, you have a custom HUD. Again, you can choose one out of many, and you have added active time to your battle to add a little bit of functionality. Later on, if you play around with your script, you'll see that you also have functionality for combining skills. On the next video, we're going to add some more bells and whistles from the Hikari set. So stick around and I will see you then.